Welcome to Fast Fridays, presented by Maconi Setup Shop. We've revamped the format for this series, and tonight we have the trucks and Eldora as one of our qualified races for upcoming monthly money race. For those who haven't joined us before here at Maconi Entertainment, Fast Fridays is a weekly fast series when it comes to Maconi Setup Shop that features a variety of car and track combinations. For the revamped format this season, drivers can enter each of these three qualifying races. The top 20 automatically qualify in for the money race. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Brayton Lester. David Kreutz working the controls as our producer. And using the cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Brayton, the Trucks at Eldora is a classic NASCAR meeting dirt combo, and it gives the drivers the freedom to run in every lane on this racetrack. What can we expect to see out here tonight as the drivers prepare to hit the circuit?
Yeah, whenever you take a NASCAR-type vehicle or a race car that's not really made to race on dirt, and you throw it on a dirt track, and not just any dirt track, we're at the historic Eldora Speedway. You're in for a show. You got the top that you can run, you got the bottom. You can go 3 or 4 wide here, and I think we're in for a great show tonight with these NASCAR trucks.
So as these drivers get this sorted out here and preparing for tonight's action, qualifying is underway. Again, if there's a certain amount of drivers enter for tonight, expect heat racing to be a part of the cards. But when it comes to the format itself tonight, we're getting set to go at a track like Eldora here in Rossburg, Ohio. Talk to us through about what to expect here with these trucks at this circuit under the lights in the dirt.
Yeah, this combo is one I'm very familiar with. I actually drove in the NASCAR then Craftsman truck race, or not Craftsman, Campbell truck race at Knoxville a couple years ago in the real life. And I mean, these trucks are crazy on dirt. I mean, they're going to get sideways, they're going to get loose. You're on the edge of control every single lap, every single second. You can be fast on the top side, and then 2 laps later, you're going to be half a second slower than the bottom. So you got to be able to kind of go where the track evolves, and the more cars you have out of lane, the faster it will evolve, but then also the more rubber it'll get and the more slicker it'll get, and you'll lose speed once you hit that certain threshold. So you got a wide variety of skill tonight and experience in the field, so I feel like it's going to come into a huge factor as well. Who can master the dirt the most?
Robbie Swan currently is the top driver in the qualifying session. Keep in mind, 10 drivers have set times. Amongst those currently zipping around the racetrack, Owen Kowser trying to get some experience down. Aaron Shiflett, known for sending it around the corners, amongst those expected to race tonight. You were even getting ready to race tonight due to asserted announcements in the past 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, this about 7 hours ago, actually. Yeah, this past day, we announced we're returning to the ARCA Menard Series with Rise Motorsports, a team that I hold very dear to my heart. We ran 3 races with them last year. The 2 dirt races that ARCA goes to of Springfield and DuQuoin, Illinois. They are flat, mild dirt tracks, kind of big dirt, the horse tracks basically that ARCA and USAC, and they race modifieds and everything there. But I always loved running Fast Fridays when I can. I saw this combo tonight, and so I was going to come out here and get some practice, and I actually had my spotter lined up I was going to work with in the real-life races, and we're going to get some on-track time here in Sim together and kind of work towards that. Those races not till August and September, but it's good to start early. And then we also announced, too, we are going to Kansas Speedway on May 4th with the ARCA Menard Series with Rise Motorsports. So I got 3 top 10s with them last year, the first of my ARCA Menard Series career, and I'm hoping for 3 more.
That being said here, 10 drivers still is the best we have in terms of time set here on the board. A lot of drivers, as you see on your ticker, did at least take part in final practice. And many more in the session, mind you, still haven't even elected to hit the racetrack tonight. That being said, when you only have that many drivers and you have several more that are at least watching along at the side, what goes through your mind as a driver when you have people say, I don't mind starting in the back for a heat race?
Yeah, normally it's a good strategy on asphalt. You're able to carry good momentum and pass a lot of cars quickly. Here, the uncertainty is almost equivalent to that of a super speedway. It's an uncontrolled level of experience in the cars around you. Not a whole lot of guys have dirt experience, especially throw a NASCAR-style car right here like we're in tonight. You give them 650 horsepower, and it's hard to contain. Early in the race, the track's not going to have that much grip in it. You're going to be sliding everywhere. You might think starting in the back is the move, and you go take someone 3 wide, and they're going to overcorrect it, and before you know it, your night's over. So There's always some kind of strategy that can work out starting in the back, but I don't think doing it in the dirt is quite the move, especially with heat races. We do have those heat races that will set the starting grid for the main event, so I'm thinking making some time there and start up front in the main event, but then again, do get wrecked or starting dead last of 20 trucks.
That being said, remember, the road to being able to get to that money race later on in the month. Remember, that race is next week at Kansas. And it's an interesting combination because it's not just because it's next gen at Kansas. That's a normal part of it. There's a 3-foot customized trophy on the line next week, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers love coming out here being able to compete for prizes. And Maconi Sub Shop and Fast Fridays has done just that. So it's been a really good series of races for these guys. And I think throwing the dirt in here tonight, it's definitely a wacky combo. Then going to Kansas next week is a good track driver car combo to finish it all off for the middle season, I guess, of Fast Fridays.
That being said, the driver's now hitting the racetrack, and it looks like, at least based on the numbers, may or may not be heat racing. There's that number you see in the upper left-hand corner. And the interesting part is how they've split things up here. 6 drivers on the racetrack here getting ready for this respective heat. Who you keep an eye on the most, as you have several of the regulars here, it looks like, but our top qualifier in Swan is amongst those out there on the racetrack.
I was watching Casey win. He's starting second in this qualifying race, or this heat race. And he was one of the quickest trucks in practice, actually. He was working the top side really well, especially after it developed. And not a lot of guys are able to make it work. And something we're going to see too tonight with these cars and then the new damage model that can make it a little risky is not necessarily the heat race. I don't think you'll see it, maybe at least not as prevalent, but you'll see some wall riding. It's not intentional. It's just in Martinsville and Ross Chastain. But sometimes you slide up in the wall, and it can hurt you or it can help you. But that is a huge gamble to take, because sometimes when it hurts you, it can bite and it can just blow your motor, and you are done for that race.
So currently the driver's getting a few moments to be able to hit the racetrack here. You can see them still on the starting grid preparing for the action itself. Now keep in mind the heats themselves, 15 laps up on the board when this green flag flies in a moment or so. You have Robbie Swan, as we said at the start, the field here. In turn, with the amount of starters and amount of drivers who took times here, we're expecting everybody to make it, in theory, to the feature here. So that being said, you have Swan, Casey Wynn, Hohenkhauser, Anthony Brown, Jeffrey Maconi, Aaron Shiflett, who are all on the racetrack. And the funny thing is about one of those, that last place car actually was in the running and believe did win the design of the year on Trading Paints, in fact.
I did not know that. I just know old Aaron Shiflett from the Iowa race we did quite a couple months ago, where he sent everybody in the corners and gave him the nickname Send It Shiflett.
I mean, I don't blame him if he chose the paint scheme. From my understanding, he's not the designer, but the person who did design it said they just made it for fun, just for a league race, and then it all of a sudden becomes the best paint scheme of the year just as a fantasy paint scheme.
That's incredible. That is actually incredible. I love stories like that. Hopefully these Send It Shiflett can go from last to first. Like you mentioned, though, no one's going home from these. All we're doing is just setting the starting lineup. We got 6 drivers. Winner of this one will start on the pole of the 60-lap main event. So 1 spot here can translate to about 2 spots in the feature. So finishing second means they're going to be starting third instead of starting second. So every spot does matter. It multiplies at a track in a format like this.
That paint scheme we're just looking at, by the way, Dylan Batty was the one who designed that in the midst of the summertime last year. Speaking of trucks, though, it's time to go heat racing. The green flag waves are ready. We're underway from Eldora. And a clean launch for the control truck. Swan already under attack by Wynn. Top line for the 37, bottom line for the 05 Insim.
And we talked about the multi-line race, and you're going to see Wynn hopping up in the high side as quick as he can, not trying to fall back too fast. Anthony Brown, though, in the 3 truck, I believe it's a 30 in sim, but 3 on the screen, also running the high side. But Wynn, though, getting up in the wall. Right rear damage for him early on, not going to be too catastrophic, but.
And in turn, with that, the top 2 are able to set away by a fair margin. The 30's around for the caution, however. And already Anthony Brown bringing us under yellow. The pace truck is out.
And he's going to go ahead and pull it in the pits, load it up, and call it on that one. Got a good effort here, got a good effort.
That happened extremely quickly here. He was in that Dale Earnhardt Jr. truck. Yeah, that's a good reason to spin out. Hit the inside wall.
Put it in reverse, Terry. Well, now we're down to 5. So we're not exactly sure how many will show up to the second heat race, but that kind of gives everyone here a decent advantage going in.
With that in mind here with this caution flag period, already on the 4th lap of the racing action. Expecting the track to have a fair amount of transition, keep in mind, as the night progresses, because that's just the nature of things, right? You already have 1 to go on the racetrack. Better yet, 5 still running, but a lot of the racetrack need to be worked in. We'll see how Swan plays it here. Green, 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 back it away.
Another traditional restart. You can't just hammer the gas. You can go up through the gears. You get on the gas too much, you're going to spin your rear tires, and someone around you would definitely take advantage of that. Casey Wynn is going to go to the bottom of your leader. Robbie Swan going to free. Wynn trying to pull the slider early on. Slides up in the Swan. You're going to have to lift. Go right below him. Crossover move successful.
And with that slide attempt, the defense is already on. Under 10 laps to go, already in this heat race. Keep in mind, you have Hohenkauser trying to find a way to get going. He hits the wall, all while the 37 of Swan uses a comfortable line, using a diamond line from that top groove.
So we got Casey Wynn, though, running the high side up by that wall. Sparks flying off the right rear, trying to use every ounce of real estate he can get. Still, though, maybe try and pull a little aggressive move. This is a common tactic. In asphalt, you might want to stick with one line throughout the whole corner on dirt. You got to build a cushion up by the wall. It's literally really getting up in the wall. We're able to kind of send it in the corner, and there's a little, barrier of dirt up by the wall that'll catch it before you hit it. So Casey Wynn trying to use that tactic to reel in their leader. So far, it's working pretty good. About 2 or 3 tenths quick that last time by, as we're over halfway in this one.
That being said here, track position going to be critical later on, already in the thoughts of some. Kauser, despite the struggles here in 3rd, he's still in a positive spot because Maconi's not catching and Chipwood is already laps down, mind you. All he needs to do, don't wreck it.
Speaking of wrecking, Aaron Schiff in front of leaders, almost taking out Robbie Swan. Casey Wynn making it around, but little Lucy, Aaron Schiff are really struggling on the bottom of the track. Might just bring it down pit road. No, he's going to stay on out. As the whole field's going to pass him. Aaron Schiff at first truck a lap down, I guess, under a race pace. Casey Wynn, though, is having a lot of trouble catching their leader, Robbie Swan. He caught up to him a little bit, then going around Schiff flick, kind of got a little scrolly going in the corner, didn't have quite the rear grip he wanted. We talked about the changing lines and how they're off that depth every single time you approach the corner. And what Casey Wynn was doing earlier in the race isn't working now.
And that's part of the transition, right? Eventually, that racetrack gets a little bit more slicker, gets a little bit more tricky, need to maneuver. The cushion is a dominant line in these trucks. Usually you see drivers at times trying to utilize the bottom. He seems to be trying to at least try the middle here. See what might work, I should say, later.
That shifted, though, going to be in front of the leaders one more time. Only a couple laps to go. Shifted right in the racing line. Swan having to go to the bottom. Evasive maneuvers. Here comes Casey Wynn to go around Aaron Shiflett. Coming off of 2. Running a real nice line to carry as much momentum as you can. Try and take advantage of your leader, Robbie Swan, going around Shiflett. Can't quite get there. Everyone gets the white flag.
White flag is out. Coming up here. Already one driver with troubles at the start and finish line. The rest of the drivers zip on through. All while Swan closes out the run in dominating fashion. He leads the whole way. And from the pole, he takes the heat race victory by nearly 2 seconds.
Swan's going to be starting first. He'll put himself in a really good spot. Having that lane control, be able to go when you want. And when you don't have the grip like you do on an asphalt track, having the restart control is a huge factor here. Now we're going to find out who starts to his outside.
So as they get all sorted here, looks like heat number 2. Well, this is going to be a very populous one. It looks like we have Warrenmuth as well as Larson, as well as Colton Anderson amongst those looking to jump on the starting grid. We'll see how many in turn hit the racetrack here, but this could be interesting if we only have these 3. Remember, we had 10 who set qualifying times.
Let me tell you, Colton Anderson looking like a hero if no one else shows up to this one. He's going to be starting, 4th or so, and that's going to be starting the main event, guaranteed top 6.
At least the question of where a couple of the drivers are. For example, Declan Inta is amongst those on the entry list. Watching along, you have Anthony Cox that's been amongst those who have registered into the session and are still, per sim, amongst those watching along here. That being said here, with what you're seeing a part of the preparation in terms of not just in terms of the practice, but just with yourself even getting things into the rhythm on the racetrack, which of these 3 do you think has the best strength here to win this?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look at a single one of these drivers during practice. I was too busy watching in case you win ride the wall, but Ken Warmuth, we see him starting first here. Yeah, beautiful truck, by the way. We saw Robbie Swan start from the lead and just dominate that first heat. I think Ken's in a really good spot here. Ironically enough, I think Everett Larson is in a very familiar scheme to one of the ARCA competitors that I ran against in qualifying in the ARCA race at Daytona this past weekend. At least it's a very close scheme. I don't know if it's inspired by Jeff Schofield was the driver's name. But I think it was only 3 trucks. I mean, there's really no limits. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of respect out here. They're going for a heat race win and a front row start. I mean, you got a shot, I say go for it.
They are really backing up, by the way, to the pace truck. Are they trying to start single file?
I don't think they know what they're doing.
Well, they are a fair bit away from that pace truck. Oh, they're trying to jump it. Green flag is out. And we have a start and a side by side. A move for Larson, but it's Wormuth able to hold on to the top, trying to bobble away.
And Larson thought about going to the bottom, though. Ken Wormuth up in the wall, scraping the spoiler across the fence. Everett Larson not really able to send it. Colton Anderson, speaking of, sends a slider, thought twice of it. Now he has an unstable, loosey-goosey truck, trying to recover, gets going again, but he'll lose a ton of time to the top 2.
And all that's while the 07 trying to keep things toe-to-toe here. I believe you were just talking about the paint scheme, wonder if it's close. That is a paint scheme template on iRacing, I believe, because that's the default sponsor that you are able to choose in the paint design booth, so to speak, on the sim. It just so happens to be circumstance and happenstance that it's one that sent you home in qualifying, apparently.
Even the same number. I mean, same scheme, same number. So, getting some PTSD vibes right about now.
Quick question. Do you know Everett Larson?
I can't say I do, but I'm going to do some research here during a commercial break, and we'll see if we share some Facebook friends, as he's currently right in that second spot. Not really the same dominant we saw performance from their leader as the first one. Ken Wormuth not really pulling away. Only about half second separates him from Everett. So, not really pulling away. The lines are pretty similar. I think these two are going to be dead nuts even for the most part.
Got 10 laps to go. All this as well, Larson still stays within 2 or 3 truck lanes. And one of the main things to keep an eye on is how much wheel is being put in by some of these drivers. Larson's up in the wall. That costs him a little bit of time on the wall ride. Some of these drivers are putting almost an unbelievable amount of wheel into it, because believe you have scoring that's able to keep up with some of the steering inputs. Larson's, if I'm looking at the data right, is going about, what, 180 degrees clockwise to the right, trying to keep the steering?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have it in these dirt races. I mean, you are just absolutely cranking at that wheel, trying to counter steer necessarily is what it is. You go in the corner, the rear end comes around. It's rear steer is what it is. You use it on asphalt tracks a lot to kind of get the spoiler in or out of the air. You know what type of track you're on. Here, to use the gear around the corner using the wheel and a combination of the gas pedal to kind of turn, because you don't have nearly as much grip as you would, and the quickest way around is going through with as much speed and momentum, but that just means doing it sideways.
Right, just past the halfway point in this one, and Wormuth is currently looking very comfortable. He's 19 in sim, but 55 of the race truck. The pace right now he's setting, still only about a couple tenths at best to fall off. Larson set the fastest time out of this heat, but so far that 19 in sim just seems to be setting the best consistency with 5 to go.
That consistency is key here. Be able to evolve and develop with the track as it develops and evolves around you. So far, it's been top dominant. Warmuth figuring that one out. Same with your winner last time around. I mean, no one's really gotten off the top. I mean, they've moved down a little bit. But so far, everyone's riding that top, making it work, and trying to find grip where they can. The bottom hasn't really developed, though. Larson tried it a couple times, but...
Like we've had the 72 of Anderson elect to park at the rest of his respective heat. He's watching one for the pit lane with a couple laps to go in the race itself. There's a look at Anderson. All that 12, these two get a little bit more experience down. 2 to go at the stripe.
That experience is going to be huge come feature time. We got 60 laps, and the track, depending on how many trucks you have out there, can change very quickly in a matter of 60 laps.
Close out this respective heat race. So far, Warmuth has just absolutely dominated this one. Every single lap led. Closest Larson's been is about half a truck length. White flag is out. Warmuth looking to close it out. Coming through 3 and 4, Larson's finding a little bit of something to close out the run. That little something coming a little bit too late though. Checker flag. Warmuth takes the checkered. He wins heat 2.
Larson was getting a little bit higher on the track those last couple corners. Found him up there riding right on the lip of the cush. I mean, it's very quick, but it's also very dangerous if you jump it and misgauge it. So, fast but dangerous.
With that being said, there is a warm-up period now for drivers to be able to get themselves ready for the next few minutes or so.
We're going to skip it.
And it looks like they have informed drivers that they will be skipping that warm-up session. Prepare for the race in amongst itself here.
We have some weather on the way, so.
Yes, you gotta keep things quick here, right? It's feature time after all, which means these drivers have about a lap to be able to pace and get them sorted. Let's take a look at how they'll start. Swan, Warmuth, Wynn, Larson, Kauser, Anderson, your top 6. And then it gets interesting from here because you have Maconi slotted to be 7th. Hunter Gerald did not take part in the heat race, though. We'll see if they're on the racetrack. Aaron Shiflett was in their heat. Brandon Hughes, we did not see hit the racetrack in the respective heat. Anthony Brown parked it after his crash in 11th. And Joe Bornhorst amongst those in the 12th spot. We'll see how many are able to hit the racetrack here as they have a couple moments before they hit the track for 60 laps.
I mean, you thought the track was evolving during those heat races. It's about to get twice as bad. I mean, this many trucks, this many drivers, absolutely sending it. And here's the thing, is the more you run a line, the more it will develop. So, like, the bottom necessarily isn't developed yet, but the more people run down there, the quicker, I guess, it will develop and get to, like, a prime optimal state where it'll be quicker than the top. And especially the more you run the top, the more rubber you'll get down, you won't have as much grip. So, I believe they actually did reset the track state, so it's not as, I guess, pushed in and grippy as it was. It's going to be very slick off the start as they pack in. I think top will be the dominant first half of the race or so here, but I think guys are going to start running the bottom towards the end of the race.
Now, of note, just received word as we go for another pace lap here that Swan and Wynn have elected not to start the feature. That leaves a grand total of 5 drivers to battle it out. Warmuth is in a very good position here as a result. In turn, when the leader in theory doesn't start the race, it goes to the second qualifier. In this case, the 55 on racetrack 19 in sim.
And not only does he get to set the pace, he gets to have the high side advantage.
Losing control here, coming to the green flag. Kauser alongside. Green, 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 and Kauser straight to his door. There it goes, send it. Shiflett nearly sending it straight to the wall. All well. Warmuth able to clear on by everybody else. The battle's on for second.
Classic Eldora fireworks in the background. So far, it's a three-way race for the lead. Cows on the bottom trying to make something work. Larson and Warmuth, though, running that top side. Cows going to get in line, try to pack that top, get some grip, and it's go time.
Absolute go time, especially when it comes to Larson. It looks like he's picking up on some things he's learned here, using more of the middle line to try and close up the gap a touch.
Had a spin in the back. Maconi was spun by Colton Anderson going into one. So Maconi now way off the pack, about 5 or 6 seconds off the leader, so he's going to have to really find some hope for a caution and get back up front in this one.
Sendit Shiftwood has parked it after that respective spin as well, so we had 6 total starters. Already, drivers like Anderson and Maconi having some struggles with some of the contact. For the race lead, here it comes Larson. Not able to jump down at the fender quite yet, but he's getting closer. That's the closest he's been today.
Now Larson kind of content with just riding in second for now, not making too much of a move. Like I said, they're going to be top dominant for a good majority of this race. There's really no passing room, but as the lines develop, they're going to have plenty of room to make a move, send it in the corner, but I think everyone's kind of get single file. Now, if the opportunity presents itself, Larson would definitely take it, but I think running the high side is getting the cushion built up and be able to send it a couple of laps to the plan for Larson here.
Now, for those curious, Everett Larson, if you look up the name, that is a driver that races an open-wheel dirt modified for Lawson Motorsports, not Larson Motorsports. They're busy trying to get the sponsors down for their respective season, and it just gets back towards the rhythm of young drivers trying to get experience. One of the youngest drivers you'll see on the dirt side of the platform.
Yeah, I love when you have drivers using iRacing as not only a have fun simulator, but also practice for the real world. And see Larson here absolutely kind of pulling away from the rest of it. Been one of the more competitive drivers all night. I usually want to do ARCA races at tracks I'm not used to. Iowa was a big track last year. I made my track debut at, I guess. Never ran it before, never even seen it. And I worked with a Maconi coach, Justin Yee, to practice. I was able to have one of my best qualifying efforts, and fortunately mechanical problems plagued us in the race. But iRacing, I know a lot of real drivers have been slowly moving that way of using it as a tool to better themselves and go to a new track or even just learn and get fun seat time.
And the funny thing is, when it comes to it, in terms of, how he got into the sim racing side, he's just 13 years old, mind you, is Corey LaJoy actually helped get him into iRacing during the gift of the summer. That in turn helped get the driver to the next level. Knowing how rigs in some cases could be over $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, he's like, I have this sim rig sitting in my garage. I'm gonna give it to someone who appreciates it. The driver you're seeing on screen is the one who got it.
Pretty cool story. He's trying to change the upload using that rig and his dirt experience. He was running the bottom for a couple of decided probably not the greatest move, that not quite ready. And it's not like it's just going to develop over time. You actually have to run down there to develop it. It's not going to, I guess, suddenly go poof, I'm ready to be raced on. You're going to have somebody running down there, packing that loose dirt and putting the grip in the track. So someone has to sacrifice something here. And it'll slowly move its way down as drivers go lower and lower off the top. But running down there by the wall, I don't think we're going to see it in quite this race with as many trucks as we have. But running a little bit lower and lower, trying to find every ounce of grip you can.
Race leader continuing to pull off and away, to say the very least. With continuing to just ride along. They're going to need to caution for a chance to catch up here. This driver seems outright comfortable, to say the very least, though, with this combination, with the way he's running this.
Now, Ken Warmuth, though, I think from the start, he was able to have that highline advantage. He just never really moved off the top. He was able to set the pace, set the race, and he's definitely set the pace for this race. He's got almost over a 2-second lead on Everett Larson, so definitely need a caution, or Larson going to have to change something up and change something quick. That's one of the cool things about dirt, is you can find something, a couple of laps before anyone else does it or realizes it. You can make up a ton of time very quickly, but you just got to be able to find it. It's like hitting the lottery.
Exactly, and they all shape things around the racetrack here. The interesting thing when it comes to the Warmuths trying to check in terms of backdrop, they do race a fair bit on the dirt side. For Ken, not so much. For Austin, he's more so known for the league racing scene to be when it comes to Legends Racing, which is a dirt racing series that uses block modifieds. So there is some experience within that lineage, so to speak, in regards to racing. It's just Ken is amongst those who's looking very comfortable tonight in a very rare start in the league.
Yeah, he's not even really up by the wall. He's not. I'm not in the cushion. He's just where the grip is. He's not really sliding up and being too radical. He's able to get that right rear exactly where he wants to. Not too drastic on the wheel. Not really getting on the gas too heavy. He's running a perfect line, doing exactly what he needs to do. Setting a good pace. Leader of the race. Pull away from his guys. Let them make the mistakes.
All drivers essentially keeping it calm, cool, and collected here, and just doing what you can really do here. Log the laps, get the job done. We do have Kauser that's, despite the fact he's trying in his best efforts to completely destroy the right side of that race truck, slowly keeping up with the 07.
Yeah, so he's not exactly able to keep a calm, cool, collected pace, no mistakes. Pick a line and stick with it. You can still be as quick as we saw Ken Warmuth there, but Kauser's taking a little bit different approach to try and catch Everett Larson. He's been just a tenth or so quicker, maybe a slower, depending on the lap. And over time, his right rear's gonna be more and more damaged. But if it's fast for now, he's got quick repair and kind of save it toward the end of the race. But he's just using every inch of real estate. He said, "I bought the whole track. I'm gonna use the whole track."
It's interesting how some people think of it that way. It takes a lot of experience to be able to get the job done, mind you, in the first place, because it's not just as simple as, oh, you keep the foot on the gas pedal, off and away you go, good luck. Drivers like Maconi, we've seen him bounce around a fair bit, for example. He's in range of being lapped right now, but he does have some experience in series like Monday Night Racing in this combination, or at Knoxville in particular, when they started having the races go that way for trucks in the past couple of years.
Yeah, that was a fun series. I was, like I said, fortunate to actually race, in the truck series race in Knoxville back in 2022. Made my truck series debut. Haven't returned yet. Working on it, knocking on wood. Unfortunately, though, they're not doing any more dirt races, so I'm heartbroken about that. I did have an offer to do Bristol Dirt last year and didn't take it up because it was last second. It was like 2 days before qualifying, and I would have had to drive down North Carolina because I'm based out of Indy, and get this ready, get that ready, and do the application. And I don't think it would have been enough time, but I wish and I hope that a NASCAR National Series gets back to dirt sometime soon.
Wait, you got offered a chance to make a truck start. I know what you said within 48 hours of the race. Can you not fly on a plane to Bristol?
So I would have had a seat. So this is a very unknown fact for NASCAR drivers. Is most of the time, if you're a driver like me, but you don't have a lockdown ride for a good majority of the season, and you go to from team to team, typically you have to have your own seat. And these seats can be very pricey, very expensive, and at the time, you have your own custom seat, each driver does, and my seat was getting modified at the time, getting recertified, all that, and then I was getting put in an ARCA car for a race I was doing later that season. So I didn't have access to the seat. The team I was with didn't have a seat, so I would have had to go to the team I was going to watch Jeff Maconi here get lapped, running the bottom. See, that's why exactly Everett Larson needs someone to run the bottom. That's what Jeff Maconi's doing exactly for him. That bottom might come in a couple laps. But my seat, I would have had to have gone to way along the East Coast and then drive like 5 more hours to Charlotte. And then it would have been a lot of long nighters. And it wouldn't have been a good time. On top of that, there's no guarantee my physical would have even been approved, because even though it's the same physical as ARCA, I believe you have to resubmit it, which I don't think it would have been an issue of it being approved, but it has to be approved in time along with my drug test. A drug test has to be taken and processed, so they can take up to a week to process, as we saw, I believe, at Sonoma, the truck series race last year. A driver went out there, his test had not processed in time, so I would have spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort into running that race. So trust me, if it was possible, if it was like a week and a half before the race, I would have been all over that. But unfortunately, we'll have to come again sometime.
Yeah, that's a great point in terms of the testing side of things, because that hit several drivers to the point where several couldn't even race at Sonoma with those trucks.
Yeah, I believe that was a big shock, and that was a whole deal on social media, and kind of eye-opening. There's not a lot of things, I guess, or there's a lot of things that fans don't realize that goes on behind the scenes to racing the truck series or national level, even like ARCA. So if I get the call, and especially with Atlanta this weekend, how the trucks have a low car count, there's a lot of calls going around. See, holding cows, they're really ripping that wall. But we're trying to make it back. Hopefully, planning for a couple short track races this season. Would love to do IRP, my home track, in June or July, whenever that is. So we'll try and get back up there soon.
Keeping an eye on Kowser, still holding on to third spot. Anderson has passed Maconi for position by the past while. Haven't talked about this machine really yet since parking it in the heat race. Doesn't really matter when you can get yourself comfortable, get yourself on the racetrack, got a little bit of experience, and now it's the matter of you still have a chance at least for a top 3 here, so long as you stop putting it in the wall.
Yeah, if you're going to say that memo to anyone, it's definitely got to be Horn Kowser. I don't know if we can get a view of the right side of his truck, but Kowser's got his own little Darlington strap going on, and we are nowhere near Darlington, so I'm sure eventually he's going to hit the wall a little too hard and knock the rear end out of it, or bounce back or correct into the right front, but he's doing everything he can. Actually had the quickest lap last time by almost 3 or 4 tenths, and he was actually half a second quicker than the leader can warm up. So he's making up some ground doing it, wall riding. I don't want to say wall riding, but banging the deck lid in it.
And it looks like the 72 is in the pit lane. So there goes the chance at the podium. And it looks like he's done. So thanks to Anderson for his racing experience tonight. Kowser, 20 laps to go. Needs a lot of luck here and needs maybe a backflip or 10 to be able to catch up to the gap in front, if not to the race leader, because Warmuth is just on a tear up in front.
Now, Warmuth has actually been slower than Everett Larson holding Kowser the last couple times. Kind of taking it easy, kind of backing his pace up. Once again, half a second faster. Holding Kowser is really in your leaders. I don't think he'll have enough time to get there necessarily away from making the deck lid on all this thing, but it seems to be working for now. And I think if we can get a late race caution, I wouldn't be surprised to see him send it in the wall, extend it shift lid, and make it work. He's wall riding to try and make it work. So holding Kowser is literally using every inch of real estate he can find and lend some. Hard on the wall last time by, but holding Kowser, trying to get creative with it.
Trying to get extremely creative at this point, and he is reaching lap traffic, so he will have to change up the line a little bit. How well does Kowser take to the adaptation of the line? Well, it did cost him a second.
Well, I don't think he just caught lap traffic. I think he touched the lap traffic there. Absolutely sliding the back bumper of Jeffrey Maconi. As of his race, I don't think it could go any worse. Everett Larson, though, is kind of making up some. Only about a tenth or so a lap. He needs to get desperate, though, like Horn Kowser is, and absolutely start wall riding. I'm about to go out here myself and show him the line. But Ken Warmuth, though, seems to be pulling away with this one. Larson getting up there by the wall, kind of riding that cushion. But nowhere near the likes of Horn Kowser last time by. About half a tenth quicker. So he's within 3 seconds. Only about 14 laps low to go.
Been a calm time for the most part, but keep in mind, you do have the iRacing builds coming up in like about a week or two's time. There's a lot of talk about not just what's coming up on the platform, but how's dirt racing going to fare out? How's the weather system's going to fare out with Tempest? Keep in mind, the oval side's not expected to be a factor on that side. However, you still don't know what could happen down the line. There's a lot of attention you'd have to think that people are going to put towards how are these trucks going to handle? Is there going to be a surprise dirt change for this track?
This had a huge revamp, I believe, only a couple months ago on the dirt side. A lot of people loved it. So we're starting to see, though, we talked about the track dynamically changing. Going into 1 and 2, there's a huge rubber line where it's slicked off, along with going into 3. And that has forced their leader, Ken Wormuth, to move down about half a lane, not even lap. You see that dark, kind of how it's doing, dark up by the wall. It's like I don't want to say dark, it's like a light gray, like a poop gray. Then you get that dark black material. That's rubber. And that is slippery. There's no grip there. And if you put your tires in that, it's going to slide up and hit the wall. So you don't want to stick your right rear in the right side tires if you can above it. Everett Larson's been doing that. Now running the bottom row, changing it up a little bit. Or do you want to try to get your tires as high as possible, but just below it? So you can pick and choose your lane. I think that's how Everett Larson's been closing. Almost 3/10 last time by. He's just barely within 2 seconds or so of your leader, but he's only got 10, less than 10 laps though to get to him.
It's going to take a miracle to be able to catch up at this rate. Keep in mind, Wormuth's already picked up on how slick it's starting to get up topside and how the track's really tackied up in some circumstances. He's running that lane down as that cushion's had more and more laps on it. Larson's still driving directly into it.
Yeah, he's kind of starts the corner driving below it, and then he slides up and hits that cushion, gets above it. It's able to kind of find some good grip in that cushion. I think it's, allowing him to get a better drive off the corner, and constantly been a 10th or 2 off that last time by. The last time, second and a half off, so he's gaining on him. He's got 6 laps to get there. He just might, if nothing changes. Now he's going to try the bottom, get way low on the track. This might hurt him. He had something good going. I don't know why he would change it. But 5 laps to go for Ken Wormuth. Actually, no, very quick, almost 2.5 tenths quicker that last time by. Here comes Everett Larson.
Can he get it kept up, though? That's the major question. Wormuth currently holding on for now. The gap is back to about 1.3, 1.4 seconds. It's going down by turn 1 on the send. The amount of time lost, though, isn't countering quick enough to be able to potentially get there unless he finds a lot fast.
Everett Larson says he's got less than 5 laps to go. He might as well start sending it. He's getting second no matter what, at least a podium it seems. So, I mean, he's sending it every single line he can, kind of getting up by that cushion, trying to recover where he can, carry the momentum off the corner. He should get just within a second this time by running. We're rooted on the track. Wormuth's going to come down and block the middle. He's not there yet, but he's set himself up for a good slider. We got 2 laps to go at Eldora Speedway.
Larson's waited a long while to see, can I do something? Can I make a surprise work? He needs to find a way to gain a second in the next couple corners to have a true shot. He's getting within 3 truck lengths. Is that going to be enough for a send? White flag is out. Final time around from Eldora. Wormuth is falling off like a falling stone and quickly. Can Larson get alongside? One more chance. Wormuth looking comfortable. Larson's trying to pull off the Ross Chastain. Not close enough to make it work, though. Checker flag. Wormuth gets it.
And Larson got loose in the last corner going through 1 and 2. I think if he didn't do that, he would have had a real shot going into 3 and 4. You saw the Ross Chastain move. He went 3, and he just hammered down. Last lap, Norm Benning style like the Dirt Derby. No regrets. Everett Larson did everything he can to win that one and comes home just shy.
Every lap led tonight by the 19 machine. And fireworks time for Ken. Dominant run, to say the very least, here in Fast Fridays. Start to finish on every single lap, each hurdle. That being said, take a quick step aside when we come back. Post-race coverage. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
There is a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is partnered with more real-world tracks and companies, including Junior Motorsports, than any other group on the iRacing service.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment for more coverage of Maconi Setup Shop Fast Fridays. Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of NASCAR and the official series sponsor for the NASCAR C-Fix Series. Tonight, it was wire to wire in the way that Ken Warmuth led the way. He put in a dominating performance over Everett Larson. Hoeing Kauser finished on the lead lap. Your other starters, Jeff Maconi, Colton Anderson parked to 21 laps in. Aaron Shiflett, he didn't even get past in scoring some of those who barely turned laps on the racetrack. Robbie Swan on down did not start tonight. So with that being said, celebrations on. I believe we've actually picked up the winner, and I'm going to be asking this straightforward here. We have Austin Warmuth in terms of the Discord rule, but Ken, who is the driver, is this Ken? Is this Austin?
It's actually Barbie.
Is this a person? Is this a robot?
It's just Ken.
Yep.
Okay.
Hear you now.
Hello, is this Ken?
Yes, it is.
Yes, hi. First things first, how do you feel about the win tonight?
I have no idea. I'm really not good in these guys. I have really good experience in these 358 modifieds. Came out here, practiced for a little bit. I was like, come on, I gotta do something here in the future, heat races. And I don't know what made me fast or anything. I don't know if it was my driving style, but I felt good. That was definitely a workout. But the car was very good, and I feel pretty good about it.
So, interesting enough, when looking about yourself tonight, a lot of the posts came up towards your father, and of course, using Austin Warmuth's Discord role kind of helps add to that. So that being said, how does correct me if I'm wrong, is it your brother or dad, first of all, Austin?
Is my dad. I just wanted to change my Discord name to my real name, but my iRacing name is my dad.
Okay, gotcha. So that being said, how's the family supporting that when it comes to being able to race and learn on the dirt tracks? Because from what I've seen, you also have a lot of experience as a family on the dirt side, especially not just on the sim, but a bit in real world as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I go to my local dirt track, and I got some guys over there that help me. I'm not a racer, but they just teach me and all that, and I get on the sim and I try and do the same thing, and it works out. But I heard you guys mentioning Legends Racing. Was that right?
Yes, that's correct. When looking things up, I believe that actually did come up, yes.
Yeah, I run with them almost every night. Pretty much on the weekends, but I get into the races sometimes weekly if I have time. But they've been a great help to me and all that.
So that being said, not sure if you know this or not, but there's actually a race next week that this basically gets yourself locked into where you can win a 3-foot tall trophy. How do you feel about next gen cars at Kansas?
I do not have them. I'm gonna have to get them. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm gonna do good or bad, but no idea.
Well, that being said, anyone we want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, I just gotta thank my parents for letting me do this on the sim. I gotta thank Dustin Lawson, DF Budget, everybody that helps, Dan Scans, Fighting Only Variety, Round Lake Forge, you guys for broadcasting. I gotta thank Lawson, in second, that was racing me clean. I left him and then he was, getting me to come back with him. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I gotta do my way through. And he caught me, and I was like, oh God, I need to do something before he passes me. And I looked in my mirror for the last turn, and I was like, oh God, he's not gonna pass me because he was wall riding. And I've like no experience in these guys, like I said earlier. But I just gotta give a big shout out to you guys for broadcasting and Legends Racing for helping me and all that.
Well, once again, thank you very much for the time.
Yes, thank you guys for letting me race this, and maybe see you guys at Kansas.
Again, that's the War Moves. Believe that might actually be Austin. The joys of having a parent sign up.
Yeah, I think Ken is the dad, and Austin is who we just spoke with.
Well, that being said, as standing on by to speak with you is Owen Kauser.
Holding, we saw you basically use every inch of real estate on the track. You brought it home third tonight. No right rear needed. Go and talk us through the race.
Well, during practice, I thought I was pretty quick during most of the time. Everything felt smooth, but I guess it just all fell apart during the race and during the heats. It just started not driving well. Um, just like Jeff and I said to each other, we can't properly drive dirt. We don't know what we're doing. We main asphalt. So I'm at least happy that I got it today, and I'm happy with my results.
Yeah, going into next week, I don't know if you intended on running, but you should be, I want to say, with third place finish safely inside. At least you'll be able to qualify next week for next wins at Kansas, compete for a 3-foot tall trophy on Fast Fridays. You coming next week?
That's to be determined. I do not know, but I've been attending each and one of these Fast Fridays. I love them. They're my favorite Friday activity, and I thank everyone here from Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Setup Shop for uh, hosting these events. It's been a blast.
We're looking forward to hopefully having next week as we go for a 3-foot tall trophy. Anybody want to thank on the third place finish tonight?
Yeah, I do have a few people. I'd like to thank Lawson Products for my truck sponsor, and Daniel Lumet Designs. He makes some of the best paint schemes out there. I'd highly recommend checking them out. And a big thank you to my family, and yeah, it's all to be said.
All right, congratulations on the third place run. I hope to see you next week competing for a trophy.
All right, thank you.
That was Hole and Cows that brought it home third tonight without the right rear on it.
Yeah, who needs that right rear tire, am I right, so to speak? As I believe we also have a third person who just jumped on in who is hyperventilating. Jeff Maconi, how was the truck?
My fan's running, sorry. But oh man, that was rougher than I thought it would be. I got spun around on lap like 2 or 3 or something like that, and my spotter was screaming about wheel damage the entire race, but I didn't get meatballed or anything, so I just wrote it out and was like, oh yeah, I'll get a caution eventually and I can go in and fix it, and never did, but it was still fun. Definitely a new experience. I'm not a big fan of dirt racing, as you can tell by how poor of a performance that was, but I was trying to find a groove. I tried the top line, didn't find much up there. Tried the bottom, found even less. Tried the middle, and was slowest of them all. So it was all in good fun. And when we run these sort of oddball events on Fast Fridays, we know the participation is going to be low because um, we're used to asphalt ovals and everything, but we gotta sprinkle it up sometimes and get some new faces in. And all in all, it was a lot of fun out there. Even if it was only a couple cars, it was a great time.
Now, to move on to next week, I have a question in regards to it because, of course, when you looked at the details for January to March, there's the price is $250 for the races that cap the months of January and March.
Mhm.
What's the context of the 3-foot customized trophy for Kansas coming up next week?
I just thought it'd be cool. I found a trophy company last year during the driver's gauntlet that we used, and they have personalized 3-foot trophies. And I said, wait a minute, that's like, at first I read 36 inches and I'm like, oh, that's not that bad. And then I thought about it and I got like a yardstick and was looking at it. I'm like, that's a really big trophy. Like that would be it's too big to put on a shelf. Like I want to give something out that's just ridiculously large. And so it's completely personalized as well. It's got like 3 plates on it. So it'll have the winner's name, it'll have the event, it'll have all the information on it and everything. And they deliver really quickly, so it'll probably be there in like under 10 days. So
Wow.
I thought it'd be a cool prize. I'm excited to race for it. I would love to win one for myself because yes, if I win the prize, I do still buy it. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that, and that's gonna be next Friday night. Unless we can work something out, and then we may move it back 1 week, but it would be for very, very good reasons. So I'm not going to say that yet. I'm confirming one more thing. Should know by Monday. So it will be either next Friday or the Friday after for a very large event with a 3-foot trophy. But if it gets moved, I promise it will be for a good reason and everyone will want to be there for it.
I'm very curious what the reason will be now. We'll see what said reason is pretty soon. Any shout-outs you'd like to give, though, about how tonight went and for tonight and for the trophy coming up next week, or in the next couple weeks, rather?
Well, we've got 5 more races in this little segment of the Fast Friday series. So we've got, I forget what the races after Kansas are, but then we'll have Trucks at Sonoma for $250, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing who shows up and shows out for that one because that's a combo that anyone can make it around the track, but it's hard to do it well and do it fast. So that's going to be very exciting. I'm really looking forward to the next gens at Kansas. I think that's going to be a very fun race to watch and participate in. I chose that. We chose that because you can move around all different lanes of work. You can ride the top. You can make the bottom work. You can even make some passes in the middle. So I'm excited for it. It's a really fun series, and it really is a great way to kick off the weekend with Fast Fridays. And even if it doesn't go well for me like it did tonight, where I was just sort of in the way all the time, doing everything wrong, it it still is a really good time.
Well, once again, Jeff, thank you very much for the time.
Absolutely, thank you guys for another great broadcast, and we will see you out on the track next week or the week after for the next gens at Kansas. And I think it's going to be one heck of a show when we hit the track for it for a 3-foot trophy.
And that's Jeff Maconi coming away fourth tonight, and of course, of Maconi Setup Shop. I'd like to thank him as well as the rest of the drivers for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. And as touched upon, the next time out, we're racing for a big trophy at a track you just so happen to be racing at in ARCA pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm about to come out and get some practice for that one. That we talked about earlier in the broadcast, doing the 2 dirt races with Rise Motorsports and going there, like I said, May 4th for the, as of now, I believe it's the ARCA 150. Looking forward to getting some experience there. And next week in iRacing, the Fast Fridays, and then in ARCA racing, May 4th. Pretty cool. A second intermediate that spun out twice last year at Charlotte. So looking forward to getting a new intermediate truck under my belt, and hopefully we don't spin out twice.
That being said, we'd like to thank you for watching the fireworks show that was this race here at Eldora. I'd like to thank tonight's race sponsors, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as Maconi Competitive Zone. Calling the action tonight, myself, Justin Pritz, alongside Bryson Lanster in the booth with David Kreitz producing. Thanks to all the viewers who are watching tonight's racing action. We hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next Fast Fridays race. And don't forget to tune in each week for a broadcast of the top split for the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series. It will be on iRacing social media platforms every week. Our drivers, after all, who competed in it last time, found out after very clearly having a ball at Atlanta where the whole field wrecked on iRacing social media platforms. How will they top it next week? We'll find out. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.